I'm going to spend the next 7 days vigorously studying the top producers in the electronic/dubstep music scene to see if it's possible for just anyone to replicate their level of skill. We're going to find out what truly makes top level productions, what does it actually take to get to the top, and can I replicate their production styles in only 7 days? Okay, here's the game plan. At the end of every day, I'm going to scour the internet for as much information as I can on these artists, and then with that information, I'm going to produce a song with the new knowledge I found. Whether it means I'm having to watch videos or listen to their music, I'm going to bring you along this journey with me, whether producing or not. There's gonna be a lot of information in this video, so you might want to stick around. I think. I mean, I haven't started the challenge yet. Okay, so it's day one, and first thing on our to-do list is to figure out what artists we're gonna actually take from or learn from, right? There's a bunch of artists out there. We all know this. Some are like obviously like Skrillex and whatnot. But then there's some other artists that are well known, but not as huge in the scene. So we're definitely going to be going off of a lot of different places, especially because it's not easy to find content on a lot of these artists. And of course, as we go along, we'll be able to change it up and take inspiration from different people. But yeah, like I said, it's not going to be as easy as it seems to just find all this information out there. I might have to do a little digging, but I do have some pointers on where I want to go first. So let's get to it. Alright, so pretty straightforward to start. I decided to start with Virtual Riot, who's pretty big in the scene, just because he already has a series on his YouTube channel called Studio Time, and just free information right there. But I had two major takeaways with this video. One was a pretty simple trick of just sending a bass signal into another channel to have a huge reverb on it, so you get two different signals, one washed out and one just the same. I use this on the bass in this song, which gives it a bit of space while keeping the sub mono. And I think it works pretty well for a lot of things, not just basses. The second and more important thing that I got was how to just turn any sound into a playable instrument with your synthesizer. So he used Serum, but I have Vital because I'm a brokey. But it works the same way. Just import a sample, use an EQ that's key tracked with a peak on it so that you get a tone out of it, and you can turn literally anything into a playable sound that sounds pretty good. Add some reverb, put some chords, and you're good to go. And while this isn't at all in the Virtual Riot style, I'm still pretty happy with what I came up with. Moving forward though, I'm definitely going to try to replicate the style of the artist instead of just the techniques. But yeah, that's about it. Take a listen. Alright, so day two, sun's in my eyes, so like this is hard to even look at the camera right now. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with yesterday. That was the first day and it turned out pretty well. The only thing is it wasn't really a Virtual Riot song in the slightest. Moving forward, I want to try my best to actually replicate the styles of these artists to the best of my ability, and I'm bad at doing that, so this is going to be definitely a learning experience for me. So today we're going to do it a little differently. I'm going to be studying... You thought I was actually going to tell you, huh? Nah, bro, you gotta wait till the next scene. So today I wanted to make something heavy. And the first name that came to mind was Excision, even though I don't really listen to him that much. I know he's a huge name in the scene, so I thought this would be a great place to go for that. But it wasn't easy to get content around him. He doesn't really have an active YouTube channel that has educational content, and all I could really find was a Wikipedia talking about how he became a popular producer, and just other videos that are like, how to Excision. I ended up following this one video that was about how to Subsidia. Not sure exactly what that is, but I assume it's like some group or something. I don't know, but it was said Excision in the title, so I was like, let's check this out, and it was the style I was going for. I also studied some of his songs, and I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty straightforward. The flows are not very unique in these songs. Let's hear it. Alright, so day three. Really unfortunate that they cut the last song short. I procrastinated a little bit in the learning process and whatnot, so it ended up being like 11 p.m. and I was just like, okay, I gotta wrap this up, and yeah, so I left it lackluster. Today, let's make a song based off of someone I'm a little more familiar with, and you might be too. Okay, so day 4, and it's really early in the morning right now. You might be thinking, what happened to day 3? Great question. I literally forgot to produce yesterday. I just got so caught up in the editing of the video that I forgot that I have to make a song for it as well. But you know what? We're here today, and I'm at my pool. It is 7:51. It's like probably 50 something degrees outside, and I'm gonna jump in the pool. I'm a little psychopathic, but you know. All right, I gotta jump in now. It's not even that bad. It's not even that bad. Okay, anyways, I decided to make a song based off of Skrillex, and once again, there wasn't that much content surrounding him, other than just a bunch of people trying to replicate his style, which is harder than it seems. Especially recently with his new albums, he's been adopting this very minimal, like low bass, sub-focused production style, and while it's really simple, it's so detailed and specific, it's very hard to replicate. Seriously, I have no idea how to replicate some of those basses in Vital, and I was at it for a couple hours. I could not come up with something decent. I got some decent sounding sub basses and kind of like low 808s, if you want to call them that, but nothing that quite compares to Skrillex. But hey, it happens. Sometimes we flop, but I'm gonna get back to it. I don't want to give this one up. And then the next day, I made this. Okay, so it's day 5 or something. Honestly, I'm losing count because life happened and it's not really day 5. I've gone some days without doing this, but it's day 5 of actually participating in the challenge, so we'll give it that. Oh my gosh, there's so many bugs around here. Yesterday, I produced the song based on Skrillex, and it actually turned out pretty well. Obviously, you're never gonna get 100% like a Skrillex song because Skrillex didn't make the song. But yeah, today would be the 4th song I make out of 5 days of doing this challenge, and I haven't decided who I'm gonna produce based off of yet. Let's figure that out. And so with 2 hours before I have to go to bed, I decided I was going to base my song off of someone who I've never really listened to before. I've been hearing his name a lot, and he's collabed with Skrillex and stuff, but I've never really listened to his music, and that would be Fred again. So 2 hours to study his music, maybe watch a couple videos on him, and then produce an entire song based off of him. Yeah, the result was nothing more than you'd expect. You can hear where the inspiration came from, but it doesn't quite capture the vibe that his music gives, and honestly, with the rush job, it's just not great. This actually was almost a flop until I saved it last minute and made something that's at least listenable. Take a listen. So I think it's day 6, and yesterday I made something based off of Fred again. You know, it is what it is. I was on a time crunch. I've never listened to that guy's music before. It wasn't awful, right? But it didn't capture the vibe of Fred again at all. I've been making a lot of music though, but today I want answers. So, what makes them so good? It's hard to put a finger on it. Even when doing some research, there's no clear production tricks or things of that sort that make the big difference. But what I think separates top producers like them from plebs like us is simply experience. I don't know about you, but I've only been producing for 3 years, starting from nothing. And even that has felt like a really long time. Within these dudes, you'll be hard pressed to find a top level producer who didn't upload their first song over 10 years ago. And even then, they probably had some years of experience before then. With that much raw experience of trial and error, learning and failing, experimentation and inspiration, you're bound to learn the ins and outs of music producing. But of course, the time alone won't make someone, but also the drive and passion, and a lot of times discipline to keep learning and producing for that long is what I actually think gets you there, skill-wise. But actually getting your name out there and getting millions of plays on your music, that's a different topic entirely. Okay, so I'm gonna call it here. Final day, day 7 of doing this challenge, and you know, gotta end it off with a bang. I was looking through my Spotify playlist, just thinking which artist do I want to actually make a song out of that I know I won't absolutely flop on. I had a couple contenders, but I ended up deciding on Knock 2. So my instant thought when getting in the DAW was just, okay, grab a bunch of vocals from Splice, just whatever I think will sound hype in a party or whatever, and then grab the right key so he does the stuff in F sharp minor. At least that's what I did here based on one of his songs. Then you get the right tempo, you know, groove going. For you club goers, let me know if this will go crazy at a club. Alright, take a listen. Okay, so we still got some questions that need answering. I already went through what I think makes them so good, but what got them there? What got them to that super high level? And you know, I think this is a case of takes one to know one, because personally, I haven't even released a single song yet, and I'm by no means big, but I can speculate. And I do think once again, there's a consistent theme of experience over long periods of time. Again, all these artists, they started more than 10 years ago. And when I read into their stories, it's like they got into a band, and they played sets, and they DJ'd, and they just simply got their name out by word of mouth and by connections over time. And back then, when there wasn't as much of a saturated market for this type of music, they stood out and made their mark in the music scene. I do think this is still possible today though, of course. Knock 2 is a good testament to that. He's a bit more of a recent blow up. I think it just takes playing your cards right, really putting the effort to market yourself, put yourself out there and make connections, because it really is not enough today to just be uploading on Spotify and SoundCloud and just hoping you blow up, even if your music is fantastic. Hey, what do I know? It's not like I got the numbers to back it up. So let's get to the next question. Will I be able to replicate their styles in 7 days? You can be the judge of that. Let me know what you think of each song. Like, which one's your favorite? Which one do you think I did the best on or replicated their style best? Or are they all garbage? I do plan on maybe finishing some of these and maybe releasing them if maybe there's some demand for it. So let me know in the comments. I might even start doing live streams of producing and touching up some of these songs. So that's something you won't want to miss out. I got a bunch of plans in the works, so y'all gotta stay tuned. But other than that, see ya.